Jill, you're on speaker.
Hello, ladies. Yay, I love those voices.
Okay, Jill. Um, First of all, I just want to thank you for being so flexible.
Absolutely.
But
We are
you,
always ready. That is our scripture, right?
yes, be ready
In
in
season and
season and out of
out.
season. Yes,
Yes.
and this is evident that we are ready in season and out of season. But
Yes.
um, I just want to give them a little background of our relationship, how we met, and then a little background about who you are. Is that okay?
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. So, how long have we known each other?
Well, gosh, probably 30 years, 25 for sure.
Okay. How old were you when you
Well, it
first?
was before I was married when we first started attending Covenant in 1995. So I was, let's see, 24. I was 24 years old.
Wow.
And I'm 54, so it really has been 30 years.
And you
That
were.
happened in the blink of an eye.
It did. It did. It did. You were first in the young adults group, and then the young marrieds, right?
Yes, exactly. We went on Saturday night service to hear Pastor Gordon. That was back in the day at Covenant, and we would all go as young adults, and then we would go as young marrieds, and then we started building our families, and so it's been a lot of years of just growing together. You dedicated my babies when they were little. You
Yeah.
and Pastor Gordon did our premarital counseling before we got married.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So a lot of
long time.
a life experience. So give us a little background of your work with Zig Ziglar and how God moved you into writing and coaching.
Okay, I would love to. Thank you. Well, at the age of 16, my parents started, we would go on road trips and they would listen to Zig Ziglar in the car on road trips. And I would absolutely hate it and act like I was listening to my Sony Walkman in the back seat. But then, like when my music ended, I would hear his voice and I would believe what he said. Like, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want, or you can go where you want to go and do what you want to do. And you just have to start. And so I just really started setting goals and believing what Mr. Ziegler said at the age of 16. And then when I went to college, I had read a couple more books that were recommended by professors in school of his. And so I went to college in Missouri and moved to Dallas. And it was just a couple of years before you and I met, Pastor D. And at that same time, I was working for MCI Telecom and I got laid off. And they had done like a corporate wide layoff at the time, even though I was one of the top salespeople of the organization. I got laid off, and I called my dad that day and he said, well, Zig Ziglar's corporate headquarters is in Dallas. You should go check it out. And we had no idea what he even did. But that same day, in my little Ann Taylor navy blue suit, I walked from my my Honda Prelude into the Zig Ziglar Corporation, gave them my resume the same day I got laid off at MCI, and I was working there within a couple of weeks. And so that was when I was 23, and I started working for him and just learning all about goal setting. We sold corporate training to Fortune 500 organizations, churches, small businesses, individuals, did a lot of seminars and retreats. And so I just learned the right way to sell, and I learned the right way to be in corporate America. At the same time, I was going to Covenant, and so that was building my spiritual walk while I was working for Mr. Ziegler in my career. And, at the same time I was growing and maturing in my faith, I just always felt this calling, even though I was doing these amazing things with in corporate America and bringing biblical principles to corporate America, I also felt such a strong calling to the ministry. Like both, I had been raised as a pastor's daughter, so that was ingrained in me and a part of who I am. And so in 2009, after 14 years working for Mr. Ziegler, I left corporate America and I went into full-time ministry. So Jay and I did that for 4 years, and then we were called to help start and launch Create Church. And when we did that, at that time, Jay and I was pregnant with our fourth child. And so we just decided at that time I wasn't going to necessarily work full time with anyone anymore. And that's when I started my own coaching business. And I really started when I was a pastor, because people would come to me as like needing counseling and wanting advice and wisdom. And the Lord told me a lot of the time that people would come to me as a pastor, but they wouldn't necessarily implement all of the things that I had learned from Zig Ziglar unless they were paying for it, because they just didn't value it. So he just really challenged me to start charging people as a coach way back when, before there was like this huge coaching industry. And that was in 2013. And that's when I started my business. I just started coaching for free, and I did that for about a year. And then, like I said, God just asked me to start charging people. And so we've been in business now for that long. And that's the coaching side. So I've been writing along the way lots of different things, and finally got the writings of my own story into these books.
How do you feel like the coaching helps believers
Yeah.
who feel like they have a purpose and a destiny to fulfill those things?
Yes, I love that question. I think so much, in church and in our spiritual walk, we get this big picture and this big vision. We get these prophetic words, and God tells us He has a plan and a hope for our future, but we don't always know how to bring that into our present and how to make it happen. So what I learned through setting goals, and even just my own process of having to be content in the middle of setting goals, that it wasn't about striving. It was definitely like the world will tell us we have to set goals and hustle and grind and work hard, and those are the things the world tells us. And then the world the obviously in our walk with faith, where it's all about faith and trust and surrender, and somewhere in the middle of that achievement and contentment is this balance of doing both. So what I really believe the coaching processes do is they give people the how to and the actual practical steps to bring what this dream is, or the calling that God's given you, into practical application for your daily life. How do I make it happen? Those are the exercises that are in this book.
How do you get people who are stuck to even begin to move?
Well, there's quite a few ways. I think you and I have talked about this, a little bit. The first thing I think that's so important, and this is the first chapter of the book, is it's time. It's not the time is now, or now is the time, or such a time as this, although that's good, or it's your time. It's just like those two words. And when people say those two words, it's time, it's like all of a sudden they get this activation inside of them. The Holy Spirit just, I think a lot of the times we have to be healed from trauma and from difficult things that we've gone through. And we finally reach a point where we know that we can now step out in faith and we can help other people with what we've learned. And so when you understand and take responsibility that, your story is for the benefit, to bring your testimony is to bring help and healing to so many other people, then you take responsibility for that. And it's just, you also get kind of tired of being stuck in these same rhythms, and you're just almost sick of yourself in a way. You're just sick of that flesh, and you want change.
Elaborate a little bit about being stuck in a rhythm.
Well, I kind of liken it to my own walk in wanting to lose weight. I'm just going to say it like that. So, um, there comes a point when I feel so uncomfortable with where I am in my own um, journey that I begin to want to break a rhythm of just doing things almost like a zombie. You know, sometimes we're in survival mode and we're making life happen every single day, especially as women. We're making things happen for so many other people. But there comes a point when we have to get out of that. Like, I'm just doing the same thing every single day, like a zombie, and we have to stop and reflect and ask the Lord, what is it that could be holding me back from achieving everything you want me to do, God? Like, what is it inside me? What it things, whether it's, I need to get out of debt, or I need to improve my relationships, or I need to make more money or have a better career, or I want to start a nonprofit. Um, what is that one? What are those one or two things that if I actually make a difference? Like for me, if I eat well and exercise and have good nutrition, I know that that's going to be a domino that's going to make me feel good about everything else. I'm going to be kinder. I'm going to be more at peace. I'm going to sleep better. That for me affects everything else. So I think just asking ourselves, what are the one or two things that we're stuck in a rhythm on that we're just doing out of rote activity and survival mode that we need to stop and evaluate?
Has there ever been a time when you've gotten prophetic words and you just didn't know what to do with that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's really, there's this whole concept of go after it and do this whole hustle and grind thing the world's telling me to do, or do I rest in the prophetic word and let God let it come to pass? And when I reached, I mean, I know you've given me so many prophetic words, Pastor Dares, that, I mean, one was that we would be on staff full time, as in full time ministry. And that felt like forever. Another one was that I would have a daughter one day. Um, I mean, just multiple prophetic words. And so there's this whole balance of having these dreams and these things in your heart that God has spoken for your future. And I call it the balance between contentment and achievement. So I know it's going to happen.
Wait. Say that one again.
It's the balance between contentment and achievement.
Okay, let's dive into that.
Okay.
Just put a bookmark in where you were going, because there is a balance. Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay, and that's what this whole book is about. Because, so when I reached 38, I hit a wall. And when I say I hit a wall, it's because I had been setting goals, like I told y'all, since I was 16 years old. And I had really seen almost all of those goals come to fruition. But yet, on a daily basis, I was extremely unfulfilled and discontented. Even though I was working for Zig Ziglar, I was going to an amazing church, I was doing all kinds of great things for God. And when I put my head on the pillow at night, I just was very restless and just discouraged about where I was in my life. And so I had to get to a place of gratitude and accepting right where I was today without anything else ever having to come to pass.
Stop. Okay. No, because you are hitting some balls out of the park, and we just need to sit on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had to learn how to have gratitude. And what else?
Right where I was every day, just every day. In the daily. Yeah, so because I'm kind of more of a visionary. There's kind of two people, more like the big dreamer visionary type, and then maybe more the everyday get it done type. And I was probably more. And so we each have to work on achievement on one end and contentment on the other, because sometimes if we're more of a to-do person every day, we don't dream big and we've lost the ability to dream. But sometimes we might be a big visionary and then we get discouraged while we're doing the daily. So there's a balance of both. And we have to be grateful right where we are, no matter what it is, while still pursuing and getting out of our little complacent nest, while still pursuing what God's asking us to do.
That's good. Okay, continue on.
So when I hit a wall, I thought, oh, well, maybe if I just go into full-time ministry, I'll be happy. But that didn't solve it either. So that wasn't it either, because then all kinds of other things inside me started to show up. And so my own striving and my own need for achievement and discontentment. So I had to go back to a place of, what is it that really brings me the most fulfillment for me personally? It's not about people pleasing.
Wait. As women, we get to ask that question?
Can you believe it? I didn't get to ask that. I didn't know I could ask that till I was 42. I didn't know I could.
Absolutely. Okay.
And so that's another reason I wrote the book. I wrote it for the next generation so that they would have this from a much younger age.
That's good.
And as us, so no matter what age we are, the younger get it from a younger age, but the older we can teach it to the younger now.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see. So I had to ask myself, and that's where the book starts out, is what is it that makes you sing? What's the song in your heart that you've forgotten to sing? What is your happiest day that you've ever had? When you felt the most fulfillment, peace, and joy, what were you doing?
That's great. Okay, did you guys write that down? Because that's a question that you need to. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Jill. Sorry.
So it's like we're asking ourselves these questions, and we're starting to find out what it is that makes us feel most in alignment with ourselves. Because what I was doing is I was answering yes to everyone else, because I thought if I said yes to everyone else, that that it was the right thing to do. But in reality, it caused me to be burned out, toxic, negative, exhausted, at home and at work. And I had to learn what it is that brings me the most fulfillment and how to make sure that those in alignment. And what I realized is, this was really tough for me, is I wasn't walking in integrity. And I thought I was this righteous, holy person. But
I think you keep dropping a bunch of bombs on us, and you mean sacrificing ourselves, saying yes to everything, is not walking in integrity?
It's not walking in alignment with what the thing is that makes us most whole.
Say it again.
It's not walking in alignment with the things that make us most whole or most healthy personally.
Okay.
Or in alignment with how God created us, because he gave us each our own fingerprint, our own DNA, and our own uniqueness. We don't have to do what anyone else is asked to do. We only have to be obedient to what God's asking us to do.
Whoop, whoop. Go ahead.
So that's when I realized, okay, I need to figure out, like, people would tell me all the time, and maybe you've heard this through prophetic words or through your Christian sisters, or, and it's encouraging. They say, like, you have a purpose, you have a calling, you have an assignment. And I was always like, well, what is that? What does that even mean? Like, I know it's true because the Bible tells us it's true, But I had to really break down those words, and God gave me a lot of revelation. That's what's in the book on how to run your life by those 3 words. And like a purpose is a bigger picture thing, and a calling is what you do to give back. And I'm just telling this really fast. There's a lot more to it. And then your most pressing assignments are the things you have to do every day. If you died today and God said, what did you do with what was right in front of you? And that's when, I was giving birth to my daughter at the age of 42. And I was at home then after being, riding on corporate jets and being all successful in corporate America. And then, being a pastor and having everyone call on me and need things from me. And then all of a sudden I was at home every day by myself. And I had to just get content right there with who I was and the pressing assignment God had right in front of me, which was to take care of my baby, to find out what it was that made me sing, to become healthy myself. And I had to do all of that without any activity in the darkness. And that's, how all of
So
that's how all of these concepts were birthed, and how God gave me the practical steps to get out of it.
yeah. So being undercover, or as you put it, in the darkness, where it's not in the public eye, is where, would you say, your roots grew deep?
Yeah, it's where that spiritual maturity came. That's why I call it grow with goals, because it's not just about setting a goal and achieving it or writing a to-do list and checking it off. It's about becoming the person that we need to be so we can answer the call God has for us. Okay, so your purpose is that big picture of what you will be remembered for when you die. And all of your friends will say this about you, no matter what age you were. And it's almost like God said, when he sent you to heaven, I'm going to give her this thing, whether it's the gift of hospitality, or I'm going to have her be this leader, or when she walks in the room, everyone's going to feel safe or encouraged. It's just whether you are 5 or 15 or 50, no matter what age, it's that essence of who you are and what you carry with you. And a lot of times you don't even know that you're doing it because it's just so natural to you. It's just who you are. And, obviously our purpose is to know God and make him known. We hear that all the time, but this is like our individual purpose, the thing that's unique about you. But I do say, you don't have to be the only person in the world to be doing this. So, if your purpose is to encourage, there could be other people that are encouraging out there as well. So that's your purpose. And then
Pause.
Yeah.
So we can be absent-mindedly walking in our purpose, but yet searching for a purpose that we already have and we already walk in.
That's good. Yeah, that's so good.
You are sparking some things. So
You just said it. So the purpose is, does it relate to the scripture that says gifts are given without repentance? Because it's automatic. I hear her saying, you just
yeah. So gifts
Yes.
is
Yeah.
given.
Of course. If you want me to.
They're yelling out a date, March 7th. But okay, continue on.
Okay, so
Calling.
that's your purpose, and then your calling. Okay, so your calling requires a caller. So you do not.
Say it again.
Your calling requires a
it
caller.
requires a caller. You better preach.
Okay, Jill, you are sparking some stuff, sister. Okay, Jilly Bird, what's the call?
Okay. All right. So your calling is I was on a trip to Florida and I was at a writing conference and it was about writing a book. And I was trying to bang out this book in my hotel room. And I had shut all the curtains and I was in the dark trying to bang this stuff out in my brain, right? And all of a sudden I hear this bird chirping outside my window. And it was just chirp, chirp, And it was so annoying. And I was like, go away, bird, And then it got a little louder, like chirp, and a little more, paced quicker. Chirp, chirp. And I'm just go away. I got to write this book. I don't have time to listen to you. And then it's like chirp, 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 chirp. And I couldn't deny it. I absolutely couldn't not hear it. I had to go open the curtains, and right outside my window where there was the ocean and there's this gorgeous view is also this beautiful bird right on my porch. And it was like the Lord said, you are missing the entire point. You need to stop and listen to what I'm saying. You don't have to do this in your own strength. And so I think your calling is specific to you. This is just my own research and my own, I'm not saying this is in the Bible just this way, but this is what I've felt and discovered is from working with lots and lots of clients is that your calling is that thing that you give back to the world once you have developed that character and once you have grown into a place of maturity and your calling is specific. It's that thing you can't not do. It just keeps coming back and keeps coming back. Are you going to do this? It's God calling you. Are you going to do what I asked you to do? And are you going to, start this ministry? Are you going to fulfill this thing I asked you to do? Like Martin Luther King Jr., like he had a calling for a specific period of time. He was born at a specific period of time in the earth to do marches, to start the civil rights movement, to do speeches. Like only he could do it. No one else could do that, but he answered the call. God would have chosen someone else, but God created him just to do that. So that is something very specific and unique to you. And then your most pressing assignment, your assignments are those things that you have right in front of you today that if you passed away today and God said, what did you do with those things I gave you to do right here? Maybe it's a job you have to do that you don't like. You have to go every day. Maybe it's just the laundry or working out or writing a book. It's that most specific pressing thing that God has asked you to do. And what I believe is that until we put our purpose, that thing we do so naturally and with joy and activation, until we put our purpose into each assignment, our calling does not open up like it could.
Okay. Wait. Say it again. Are we recording anything? Okay, good. Okay, so when you put your purpose into each assignment, that's when your calling begins to open up more and more and we know this, God can trust us. He trusts us more and more with more people, with more responsibility, with more authority as we get faithful to the little things that he asks us to do every day. And the way that we do that is through using our purpose. Because just think about, like, if I was at home every day during this period, I told y'all when I hit the wall, and then at 42, I cried every day for 8 months when I was at home every day by myself because I was used to doing so much. And finally dawned on me, if I'm supposed to encourage other people, I better encourage myself and my own family first. And I had to put that purpose into that assignment and do it with as much joy as I would do, ministering or speaking or writing or whatever. I had to do that with so much joy and all of my essence before God could trust me with anything else. That's good, Jill. Okay.
You've walked with me through this, so.
But they don't know that I already know.
But you probably don't know it just like in all this. Yeah.
This is good.
And we all walk through this. Like you all ladies, I know you all are going through things where you have an assignment. You don't want
what?
Ask, am I putting my purpose into it? Am I?
Hey, you got to back up because you went dead and we
Okay.
are hanging on the word.
We all have an assignment.
Okay, you
Well, I said, I know we all of us as ladies, all of you have assignments that maybe aren't something that is the most exciting or it can be hard to complete. But when you put your purpose into it, that's when you just receive so much fulfillment too. There's so much joy in anything. It's where we get that contentment. It goes back to that. Our latter days are going to be greater than our former days, and we're moving from glory to glory to glory. So I would say one of my number one scriptures is teach us to number our days that we may have a heart of wisdom, and that we're not going to be here forever. So we have to, number one, realize our time is short, get to it, and we have to do what God's asked us to do. Get those undone things done. And I think what you probably need is clarity on exactly how to go about doing it. So maybe get, some of the sparks from this group are that as you get together in the group together, you can talk about some of those undone things.
Hey, they don't know that they're going to be doing groups yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's all right, Jill.
Forgive me. Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, no matter what you're doing, you get your group of girlfriends together and you start talking about this stuff together and holding each other accountable and encouraging each other, just like you're doing today. And start getting it out there and speaking it. And once you get it out there, once you write it down, then you just follow through each day. You've got the big picture vision in your head, and then now you just got to get your action steps, and you got to put them in your planner and set alarms on your phone, and go to it.
I think sometimes we get overwhelmed by setting so many goals.
Yes, absolutely. I have all of my clients only working on 4 top priority goals for 90 days. That's all you get.
Say that again.
4 priority goals for each 90 days.
So 4 goals for 3 months.
Yes. And they can be short-term, they can be long-term or intermediate goals, but you're only working on those 4 things at a time, and you have deadlines, you have action steps, you know why you're doing it, so it gives you that pep in your step every day. And you also, it's at the end of the book, but we talk about writing out what are the roadblocks and obstacles you're going to have that will prevent you from reaching the goal. And when you write those out ahead of time, when they come up, you're more prepared.
What is the specific?
It's teach us to number our days that we may have a heart of wisdom. Let me see. It's Psalm 90:12.
So numbering your days is wise. Realizing that your days are numbered is wise, so that we can effectively live and achieve. Okay.
I can also say one practical thing to help with like overwhelm is that a lot of times we get a lot of stuff stuck in our head, and that's what keeps us stuck, and that paralyzes us. So I like to do like this little exercise where go home and just create like this big wheel of life on your on a piece of paper, and it'll have different spokes of the wheel, which I can tell you what those are for each area of your life. And then you just do like a massive brain dump or brain release for each of those areas. Or if that doesn't help you can just do a brain release, everything that's in your head, if you get it onto paper. That's the number one thing you can do is get it out of your head and onto paper. And then another thing you can do is start writing out everything I want to be, do, and have. We call that your dream list. And then look at those lists. And then from there, there's a whole process that I recommend to this. But from there, you're going to pick your top 4 priority things to work on. Because once you see all that on paper, you kind of realize the stuff that you're worried about, that's paralyzing you, that is overwhelming you, that you're spending too much time on, that you don't even need to. Once you get it out on paper and pray through that, ask the Lord to illuminate those few things, that will help everything else come into alignment. Because again, it's all about being in integrity with ourselves and into alignment.
Jill, can you speak to, so we spoke to the older woman. Speak to the younger woman who's overwhelmed with maybe not knowing what they want to do, or don't really realize, or that they're overachievers, or they need to achieve certain goals by a certain time or a certain age. Speak to.
Well, that's good, because that's where I was. I was looking at everybody else. Like, I built my first house at 23. I had all these amazing experiences and kids, and like I thought I had to have the house, the kids, the husband, it's almost like you're just checking things off. But what I would say is, again, you need clarity. And you need to understand how you are wired and what it is that God's asking you to do that brings you the most peace, joy, and fulfillment. And if you can get to that place and then just please the Lord and be obedient to that next thing he's asking you to do, while also dreaming for the big things that he's given you to do. But one of the things that I recognize, and this may just be boys, but in the younger generation and young men, it's hard for them to even believe they can have a dream or have a goal. Like, they kind of can get into apathy and even say, I don't care, because they've been disappointed, or maybe they're distracted by social media or by other things going on. So, get alone with God, get out into nature, and just ask God what it is that he wants you to do, and recognize that you can, just like it says in the word, like he's going to give us more than we could ever think or imagine. And he has such an amazing purpose and calling and assignments for your life. Like, just start to believe again and hope again, and he'll show you we don't always know the order of everything, but he'll show you what's most important right now.
What are the spokes on the wheels you were talking
Okay, so your physical life, your mental, which is like, what are the books you're reading? What are you putting into your brain? How's your mental health? Your personal, like, are you taking care of your doctors and dentist appointments? And what personally or even socially on that spoke of the wheel? How are your friendships? And then the next one is family. How am I doing? And this goes into my next book, Pastor D, but you rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on each of these areas.
What? Aleka, you are the bomb. They found the wheel.
They did? Okay, good.
Okay, keep going.
And then financial, and then career, and then spiritual.
You guys are going to buy the book.
I already bought it. I bought it.
They've already started ordering the book.
Grow with Goals is the first book, because we want to grow first, and then God tells us to go and go with the wheel.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
This is the book.
Yeah.
The Lord said to me, and the reason why, when I was in Dallas, we talked about this. I think we're tired of being on the hamster wheel. Our day-to-day routine, and we don't feel like we're accomplishing purpose. And then we're overwhelmed with so many choices, because we're so amazing that we're good at a lot of things. But just remembering one thing that I've always said, and I probably said it, is time is an ally, and patience is a virtue.
Yes.
So if we can have patience and partner patience with time, we can fulfill a lot of things. But I think when we wrestle with patience and time and purpose, we become overwhelmed, and that's when we get stuck.
One thing with overwhelm as well is we have to know what our core values are. That's how we understand what makes us feel most aligned, so that we say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. That requires a lot of boundaries. And those core values help us to stay in alignment with what we truly want.
Why is it difficult for some of us to establish boundaries?
Well, I think we want to please people. We want to be helpful. As women, that's our nature. We want to nurture. We want to take care. We want to come alongside. We want to help. So I think it's difficult to say no. And so for some people it isn't. But we also just don't have clarity about, because we've all heard this, but when you say yes to something, you say no to something as well at the same time. But you're probably saying no to the thing that you need while you're saying yes to the things that others need. And so we really have to understand what it is we need. And that's why I talk about this concept of growth being like a greenhouse. We all need to thrive in our own perfect environment of water and sunlight and perfect soil. And for each one of us, that could be different because we're different beings. Some of us are oak trees, and some of us might be orchids, and some might be bamboo trees. We're different. So we have to know what it is that makes us and our greenhouse the most healthy. And that's different for me than it is for you. And that's okay.
So my question is about clarity and gaining or increasing your clarity about your assignment, your next assignment in life, and where you're going in that direction. When you are a everyday tasker that kind of overwhelmed with the everyday and not a big dreamer.
So is your question, how do you start to dream again? Is your question, your question is how to know what the next assignment is that right?
And the next assignment, but also how to dream again. Because she's saying I'm an everyday tasker. Her life is full with things.
Yes.
And she doesn't have time to dream.
Yeah. Okay. So again, let's go back to doing like that brain release and getting everything that you're doing out of your head and onto paper. That's the first thing, so that you can actually see all the things that are taking up your thinking, your brain space, your time. So when we look at that in comparison to our purpose, calling, and assignment, and in comparison to our dream list, then how long, what I like to have people do is go do something that just brings you so much joy and your endorphins are up. And after you do that and you feel that awesome, high in your brain, like maybe you go for a walk outside, or you go play piano, or I don't know what your thing is, but go do something that just brings you a lot of delight. And then after that, do your dream list. Everything I want to be, everything I want to do, and everything I want to have. And just clear your mind, clear your head of any kind of limit, anything that says, oh, I could never do that. Because this goes back to what occupies our thinking. And so a lot of the times we're going to have to flip limiting thoughts. And we do this right at the beginning of the book. We have to flip any limiting thoughts into affirmations, like I could never have that, or I don't have time for that, or I'm not worthy of that is a big one. So we have to flip those and just clear everything out of your head, and then just ask God to start dreaming with you again, and just notice the patterns in your journal. I love journaling, and I know, journaling isn't something, everybody does it differently. So you don't have to do it like I do it. You can write it in your phone. You can make a list on the back of an envelope, and just when God speaks it to you, write it down. And those are, you're going to start seeing patterns. And when you just stop and reflect and take awareness of things that are bigger than, look at the sky, just look at the stars. That's what, when I was crying every day for 8 months, the Lord brought me out onto my back porch and he said, do you think that I didn't hang the stars in the sky and the moon? And I would just look at that and wonder and just, dream with him, just dream with God. He's so much bigger, and so we do have to let some of those things kind of fall away and then begin to say no to the everyday if you can. I know a lot of us are stuck in survival mode, but talk to your friends, get help with things you need help with, delegate, say no. There's a lot of different ways we can do that, just depending on your specific situation, which I would love to know. But
Okay, so big dreamer, but struggle to find the daily assignments to achieve it.
okay, well, what is the thing responsible to right now that you're supposed to complete that brings, the things God's put into your hands that are things you must do so that you can be, a good mom, or I don't know what all your responsibilities are, but it's being grateful that you get to do those. I don't have to do it. It's not I have to. I get to. I get to take my kids to school. I get to pack lunches. I get to wake up at 6 a.m. I get to work out. I get to cook healthy meals.
Yes,
That's how we hear it.
yes,
I gotta do it.
Mhm.
Well, I get
yeah.
to do this today.
Well,
And that
well,
changes my whole perspective.
well, I also
Mhm.
think that the pigeonhole of that, you struggle with it. The only way that you can get out of a struggle is to change the pattern, and the only way to begin to change the pattern is by one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So
It's renewing our mind, right? Like we can't be, we're transformed by the renewing of our mind.
I feel like I also hear her say, so I want to make sure I understand. So I'm 100% sure my purpose is hope, like giving hope, right? That. So how can I put hope into this lunch? Maybe I put a card in there. How can I give hope on this phone call? How can I give hope to my child as they go to school? So I feel like if I can take my purpose and put it into my daily assignments,
Yes.
right, then
You
that's
got
going to
it.
give me fulfillment and open the doors to even more ways.
Yes.
Okay.
She got it.
Okay.
She got it. Yeah.
absolutely. I think this is going to really, really, because how long have we been talking about your book? I mean,
Well,
I know that
years.
yes.
Yeah. That was one of those prophetic dreams, visions, words. Yeah. That I would write a book years ago.
Was that
And
like 2
it
in the
did.
morning?
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay.
And I started writing this book in 2016. And then it wasn't until 2022 when my 2 oldest kids went to college. And I'm actually in my middle son's room right now. But I went up to his room that I'm in right now, and I wrote the book for them, for their generation, and for all of us who are older, so that we can pass that baton to them. They need it. That's Gen Z needs it. The millennials need it. Gen X needs it. Boomers need it. We all need it. But the older need to give to the younger. So that was finally my unction in getting it done. It wasn't about me. It was about somebody else and getting it done for them.
Okay, Jilly Bird.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.